the saga for the Super Eagles coach continue. Is it to be or not to be? There's so many feelers reaching us concerning the coach of the Super Eagles of Nigeria. On Tuesday on this program, we try as much as possible to break it down to you on what Bruno Labbadia would do for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, but feelers everywhere. We're still waiting for official reports from the Nigeria Football Federation. Says that, well, he may not just be the coach of the Super Eagles of Nigeria. We have 2 matches to play on the 7th of September, and the second one is on the 10th of September, Benin Republic and, of course, Rwanda. Fingers crossed for that. Welcome to Sport Tonight. I'm Cecilia Mogbe in Lagos. All right, on the show tonight, yes, we'll be talking about that and also touchdown on Paralympics. We'll take a look at Team Nigeria, the performance so far, and also the games they will be playing this weekend. CAF Champions League will also get our attention. Enugu Rangers, yes, we'll talk about them. But then the focus will be on the NPFL that is starting 31st, because Rangers and Academy Warriors, the champions of the league, and of course the champions of the Federations Cup, will be meeting each other in the opening round of the Nigeria Premier Football League. And we'll talk about the Four Cornets, the Under-20 World Cup, FIFA World Cups get underway this weekend. Of course, the Four Cornets will be in action on Monday. And of course, the Under-20 World Athletics Championship taking place in Lima in Peru. Yes, not a good one for Team Nigeria. We will have someone to talk about this on the show tonight. And of course, the Premier League, we'll be listening to Mikel Arteta and of course Pep Guardiola on the show tonight, talking ahead of the games they will be playing this weekend. Yes, our focus is also on the transfer market. Victor Osimhen, where will he play his football this season? Saudi Arabia or the Premier League? Yes, 2 offers on ground. But feelers reaching us is he might just have to take a pay cut to go to Chelsea. That's the feelers reaching us from the transfer market at the moment. But Osimhen is still there. He hasn't signed yet for anyone. Arsenal Konakman will join me any moment from now. But then, before we go there, we'll just quickly take a look at the Paralympics. Or before we go to the Paralympics, yes, we will be hooking up with our guest that will be joining us from Lima in Peru, that will be telling us more about the Under-20 World Athletics Championship, especially concerning the relay event that took place today. Yes, Nigeria was disqualified in the 4x100 meters and the 4x400 did not participate. He will tell us more about that. But Austin, how are you doing?
What a great things to you, Cecilia, and of course, everyone joining us on the show tonight. Tonight is an action-packed and dramatic world of sports. Dramatic. Every transfer deadline day, we get to wait. They put us through some level of psychological stress before we know what's going on. And then while we're waiting for that, Bruno Labbadia was like, okay, since it's transfer deadline day, let me give them a shocker. On Tuesday, like a thief in the night, Cecilia, we said it, that why did the NFF hurry to announce the appointment of Bruno Labbadia as the 37th coach of the Super Eagles? Today, I think barely 3 days later, the German said, look, I'm making a U-turn. I'm not agreeing to the contract because the Nigeria Football Federation didn't finalize it. Cecilia, whew, we do whew for our football. Now we're doing the same for athletics. We definitely need to sit down and find ways to reform sports in Nigeria.
Yeah, reform is actually important. I remember, Austin, in that press conference you attended with the sports minister in Paris, he talked about a lot of things they need to do. Even if it means him actually handpicking Federation President for elections, he was going to do that. We're still waiting for what's going to come out from that. You know, the saga that happens to... why am I forgetting that name? The athlete that wasn't registered for the 100 meters. She was only registered Favor Philly for 200 and of course 4x100 meters. They said they were going to look into that, and of course we're thinking, okay, what's going to happen at the end of the day? That's what we're saying. Maybe this thing was just orchestrated by the administrator. He wants her to focus on just to swap, because nothing to write home about that. And then the basketball, thank God by September we are hoping the women's league will start. We're also hoping for that. And of course, what we talked about yesterday concerning Abi Olajuwon, feelers reaching us, is the fact that she has actually said by Monday maybe the money is going to hit her account. We'll wait for that and see if that will happen. A whole lot of drama. I just hope and pray that anytime we come on this show, let's celebrate our athletes, celebrating them in a positive manner. We won't be talking about administrative lapses or maybe to be or not to be, because if you say you release a press statement at 5:30 a.m. in the morning, and then the next thing we're hearing 3 days later, the coach is saying, okay, this is it, and we're still waiting for feelers from Nigerian Football Federation. We expect that at this time we should hear something from them, but there's speculations everywhere, and you really can't say this is a fact. And even when you try as much as possible to reach them, you can't get anything out of the ones you're going to reach. Either someone's going to tell you, okay, I can't speak on this, and some will not even take their calls, and you're wondering, this is football, and this we celebrate here. I mean, the Nations Cup was just in January. We saw what happens in that. So if we can't really handle that in the football world, what happens to other sports? No hope at all.
Cecilia, it's same old same. And then when you come out to say the things you've gotten out there as a journalist who cannot, disclose sources that are talking to you when the real people aren't talking, they start fighting you. And that's why I laugh at them sometimes. This sort of story is happening now. Nigerian Football Federation, say something, clarify, where you think there's been some misconception. If there are issues, talk about it. We keep using PR to solve problems. I keep teaching them that the best PR does is that avoiding problems, not solving them. They don't listen. Basketball, look at Coach Oladiwon since the story broke about unpaid money. Nothing. No. Is there any press statements? Because I've not seen any. Nobody will say nothing. They will just keep quiet. This is public service, taxpayers' money in action. You just treat people anyhow, and then we keep wondering why our sports is at the level where it is. We're going to the Olympics, having problems with baton exchange. Under 20 now, we're seeing the same problems. It tells you that something is wrong. Someone isn't doing the job. Oh, someone gets into our lane. Instead of us to protest so that they can be disqualified and will stay, the people that claim they have the technical experience and expertise won't do nothing, won't say nothing. It is people like me and you who cover it, and some experts on Twitter that will be pointing out these are the issues, Cecilia. And I keep telling sports administrators in Nigeria, you cannot patch a problem. It will come back. Until you solve it, it remains a problem.
It remains a problem. All right. There's so much to talk about on the show tonight. But then let's go to Lima in Peru, where Ese Oguma will be talking to us concerning the World Athletics Championship taking place in that country. Ese, good evening. It's good to have you join us.
Hi, good evening good afternoon from Lima, Peru, and good evening to you all in Nigeria.
Yeah, it's great to have you, Jenna. So tell us, I mean, tonight we're expecting so much, and that's why I was eager to actually bring you on the show tonight, because we thought we could celebrate some finals, but somehow it just didn't happen. What transpired today at the World Athletics Championship?
Yeah, we really expected so much from the Nigerian team, especially with Christina Ochonogo, who just came out of the Olympics, where she was a finalist, as well as Ella Onojiwewo in the women's 400 meters, where she has the national record and under 20 African record of 50.57. It just didn't really go well for us. Today we're looking at the 4x1. Our men and women 4x4 had to scratch out because they didn't have enough ladies and CIs to go on it. So they rather went for the 4x1, which we were so close to making the final for the 4x1, but it's just cutting exchange issues. We just couldn't get it right today, and then our major hopes, which were the long jump, Christina, she finished fifth, jumping 6.28 meters. Ella Onojiwewo was fifth in the women's 400 meters, where she ran a 52. She said, it's been a long season for her. She's a junior at LSU. She went through the indoor season, she was at the outdoors, she was at the Olympics, she was at the African Championship, and here she is at the World Under 20 Championship. She would have been able to do better if she was a lot fresher, but she's just really worn out for the season.
Yeah, exactly. That's not what's going to, because when I saw the list of athletes going for the under-20 World Championship, I felt you don't use athletes that are just coming from the Olympics. And these athletes, we all know they play in the NCAA. Most of them, they run the NCAA, and we know how tedious that is. The collegiate system, in the track and field, we know how tedious it is. And from there, they went to the Olympics, and from there, they're going to the World Championships. We saw so many countries that are there. Most of their top, how many top athletes that were at the Olympics actually went for, to these World Athletics Championships? Is it that we don't really have enough? You're an athlete. You are, as an athlete yourself. Is it that we don't have enough athletes to actually represent us? While we're also picking those who had gone, to the Olympics for the kind of a platform that's supposed to, bring up athletes.
So I think the first thing was there was really no under-20 trials.
Yes,
there was
number one.
There was no under-20 trials for the Nigerian team. So it was more like just getting together all the athletes who they probably thought has done well this season and get them to represent Nigeria. So that's what it was. There was really no under-20 trials. And talking about, if these were the only athletes we would have used, I think on the under-20 level, the ones that we brought here are kind of like the ones that are on top right now.
Yeah.
And it's just so sad that we just couldn't go home with a medal.
It is. I mean, I'll throw this one to Austin. I believe he has some questions to ask concerning this, because I feel that we knew that the under-20 World Championships is this year. We should have been preparing athletes for this, while also having athletes preparing for the Olympics. Is it that we don't have enough people to actually prepare athletes for championships like this? We've been talking about this since this year, because this championship is coming up, and it's immediately after the Olympics, and it's as if we're not even ready.
Yeah, we don't like to. Yeah, you could go on. You could go on. I'll jump on it after you.
Oh, okay. Now I was going to say, it's just so much this year that we should have actually done better. If there was preparation, if we had relay camps, because I spoke to the athletes after the race, and they were like, the coordination wasn't there. They just really wanted to be better for themselves. Just use the Niger energy and vibes and inshallah, to perform. But that just didn't get them anywhere today.
It's clear now that the Nigeria energy, the Niger spirit, inshallah, and the rest, now we can all see that faith without work is dead, so it's time for administrators to know these things. But Cecilia, before I talk to Essay, just to jump on what you talked about, why we're seeing what we're seeing is because we don't like to build. We just want to jump on the ready-mades and go to those places where the ESTA codes are fat. That's what these administrators are after. Just go to where it will be easy peasy. They have the guys from the collegiate system who have been trained by a place that has got proper standards. And now all they just need to do is just to go and give some motivational speech so that those guys will go and do the work. And they will now get enough propaganda tools to work with when they go back home. But you see, it's what you sow, you reap. It is what it is. And we're beginning to see it. Small countries are putting in the work, and it is showing. Go to Botswana and ask about the Leslie Tebogo's project. Yeah. It's 10 years coming. Yeah. And now look at how it's not a joke. From right after the Olympics, it's still unbeaten, because it's a plan, it's a program, it's a phase, and they're beginning to see. So, Essay, with what you've seen now in Lima, we've seen what happened at the Olympics. You are seeing what's happening in Lima. What's the hope for athletics in Nigeria?
To be honest, I just think we can actually do better. It's all about preparation. I'm here with Mr. Bambo Akwani of Making of Champions, and we're talking about it. And we're like, the South African team that went to the Olympics, they were there. They were in camp since World Relays. They've been in camp for 3 months. But so I think it goes back to the roots. How do we get these athletes prepared? Do not give money 3 weeks to the Olympics. Do not give money so late, because you can't really do, it's like rocket science, fire brigade preparation. That's not going to help us. If you're going to put a budget of 9 billion for the able athletes and 3 billion for it, should be done a year ago, six months ago. Give ample time for these athletes to train. I'm an athlete myself, right? And I know how long it takes for us to get ready for championships and stuff like that, and how, our schools, because I'm in the US, our schools, invest in us as athletes. So I think we would really appreciate, if the Nigerian Federation would would actually do better in terms of like preparation, getting the athletes ready, getting them together, financing these athletes, because it takes a lot to be on the world stage. You know, it's more than just being here. It's about what do we do? How can we be impactful at this World Championship? Was in 2021. You know, where we had Favour Philly win bronze in the 200. We had Udodi Onwuzurike win the men's 200 meter in the championship record of 20.21. And then we had gold in the women's 4x4. We had gold in the mixed 4x4, which was also the championship record before US broke it in 2022. So I feel like we just need more and more preparation to get better at what we're doing.
You see, with what you just said, time and chance happened in 2021. Now, because it wasn't structured, it wasn't deliberate, it wasn't a program, we should be even jumping on that success now in 2024. And this is what I said to the Nigeria Olympic Committee just before the Olympics, that they came for me. Why are you giving grants to athletes 2 weeks, 2 months to the Olympics? To do what with it? You get grants from international bodies and then you hold on to it, and then the athletes now is ready to go to the Olympics. That's when you're now giving. So until we get these leadership issues right, we will continue to go round and round. But in all of this is the under 20s. This is one for the future. It has development at the center. What are the positives that you've seen that we can say, okay, we know we've been beaten, we are falling. But when we see these positives, we can say there is hope for the future.
So I would say with the caliber of athletes that are actually here, there is really positives to take out of this. Christina Ochonogo, she had jumped 6.7 this year. You know, she came out really good. And then she was also at the Olympic Games. You know, she was at the African Games, African Championship. She won medals for us. You know, getting to the Olympic Games finals in her first ever Olympics shows that she has so much to offer. Ella Onajuewo is also somebody who I feel that could actually do so well, but it's just that it's the timing of the competition. She would have been able to bring home a medal because she was peaked. She was one of the fastest coming into the championship, but you know, there was so much that happened. You know, Israel Okon should have actually also done so well, you know, but he picked up an injury after winning his heats. You know, he ran a 10.4 to win his heats. This championship, he has a PB of a 10.1. So these are like athletes who have credentials, who have like the potentials to be the next big thing from athletics. Favour Philly is one example. In 2021, where she won the bronze behind Masalingi and Mboma. See her in 2024. She's at the Olympic finals. You know, she signed with Adidas. She went to LSU. You know, she's NCAA medalist and all of that good stuff. African record holder in the indoors of 200. She has been done so well. So I feel like there's so much from this competition, you know, that we could take out from if proper investment can go into these athletes.
Yeah, I think it will be a good way to end it here, SA, because if you don't invest, it's going to be hard for you to have athletes winning medals. I mean, we're appalled by the fact that we didn't have trials for the under 20. You have to pick athletes from the Olympics, right from the Olympics to go into a world championship that's supposed to be where, you know, athletes will fly. As you mentioned, Udodi, that was where, you know, he first of all, you know, came out and he shocked the world. You also have Leslie Tobego that Austin mentioned. He ran alongside Udodi in that Udodi won ahead of him. But he's an Olympic gold medalist right now. The first time an African person is actually winning a gold medal in the 200. I say thank you so much for joining us. I know when the tournament is over, we'll have a time to actually take a look at the athletics in Nigeria, what these administrators need to do for you athletes to, you know, get the very best out of yourself. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Welcome back. Yes, get into the business of the Paralympic Games. But before we start, Okwemi Akiode is right here in the studio, sport journalist with Mainland FM. Great to have you.
Yeah, it's
the traffic.
Traffic was something else.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we're here and a big weekend.
Yes.
Big weekend. But of course, we're following what's going on at the Paris Paralympics. even though it's not been a really good result for Team Nigeria. But I mean, we had reasons to smile earlier today in the badminton. Of course, you win some, you do some, but I think it's just a basic reflection of what the sport has been about lately. I mean, look at the whole Super Eagles drama. We have 2 qualifiers on the 7th and 10th of September.
We'll get into that.
It's just a whole loss.
It's a headache, right?
It's a whole loss, Cecilia.
All right, so let's talk about the Paralympics. Let's celebrate these guys. In everything they're doing, they always try as much as possible to put in their best. I'll just take a look at the results of what happened, and of course, some of the games we'll also get into. Now, we'll go straight to para badminton event, the women's singles SL3 Group B, where you have Eniola Bolaji beating Arela of Australia 2-0, and it ended 21-8, 21-14. And of course, you look at the men's singles in Group C. Freddie Satawan of Indonesia beating Jeremiah Nana of Nigeria 2-0. So more like a mixed result. While you have Eniola Bolaji actually having a good result, it wasn't a good one for Jeremiah Nana of Nigeria, talking about the para badminton event. That's for the Paralympics. I mean, you mentioned earlier that, I mean, when we have events like this, you always have preparations, and then our team will actually camped in Germany for like, I think, less than 2 weeks. Less than 2 weeks. And then when we heard that, we're like, okay, is it really enough? Usually it's never enough, because right now, you listen to Essie when he talked about we use Inshallah vibes and, just be hoping and praying. Yes, that's what we do. But, sport has gone scientific, where recovery of athletes, we've seen athletes, players actually, do the recovery system. I mean, they use the oxygen room. They go to the oxygen room to recover and everything. We have some who have the foot massage, and there's so many. You have some timer for sleep and every other thing. Ice bath. I think we do ice bath. That's the only thing I know that we do. But every other thing, there's usually no part of it. So the technology aspect of sport, that's what we've not really embraced. So actually, and just spirit that we have, when you add technology to it, I believe we'll do better, because we're not having that.
You said it's the technological part that we've not done. Which one have we done?
Okay.
I mean, let's just start from there. Which one have we done?
Let me sit down.
I followed the preparation of Ukraine. Ukraine came to these Paralympics with 140 athletes. That's a war-torn Ukraine, 140. We saw every other country. And I mean, as a kid, I grew up in Surrey. I literally spent the early days of my life at the stadium. And you look at how some of these Paralympians have to prepare. You look at the condition at which they train. How many of them? I mean, see, Cecilia, you only go scientific when you have the basic. We don't even have the basic. How many of our Paralympians actually get exposed to updated training materials that can even help them to prepare better? They're already physically challenged. They already have a lot of things going against them. A lot of them. I mean, I was watching the 500 meters finals yesterday, and I saw how you needed to have your guide to run through the race, and I saw how difficult it was. In fact, I think the heat of the 100 meters, there were only 3 athletes on the track, and one of them finished like maybe 5 seconds behind, and he was excited about the fact that he finished. So it's a complete process. We saw what happened at the main Olympics, and we're asking ourselves, could the Paralympians even give us something to be excited about? They've always been our source of joy. They've always gone in. What happened to weightlifting, Cecilia? That used to be the sport that gives us medal at the Paralympics. What happened to our weightlifters? What happened to our para weightlifters?
No, we're coming. I think the numbers are not enough, right? Because in all, we have like 25.
It's basically about understanding where your strength is. Then you pump in a lot of energy into it.
That. Maybe you have more athletes qualifying for that.
The more you're able to go into, look at what Australia does. They know that when it comes to the water sports at the Olympics, there's a lot of medals. They pump in a lot of swimmers in that category, so that you know that, okay, you're not good in sport, or you're not even registered for these activities, but the ones you are registered for, the ones that gives you medals, why don't you pump in a lot of people into these things, Cecilia? I feel we can do a whole lot more. And so sometimes I think it's a bit unfair when we ask so much from these Paralympians, when we've given them almost nothing to prepare with. So most of them just go with Inshallah vibes and the Nigerian spirit. So when they come back and they win those medals, will take the glory. The sport ministry takes the glory. The head of their federations takes the glory. They start addressing press conferences everywhere. But did you really put in all of the support for these athletes when they were preparing? Why would you be paying people grants 2 weeks to competition? Why would you be paying them even during the competition, Cecilia?
Okay, yeah, well, I would ask Austin about Paralympics. We'll skip it, but that's where we have the Paralympics. We're in here now, and of course, after this short timeout, we will go to the NPFL, the game that will be played this weekend to herald the new season. All right, it's all about Academy Warriors and Rangers International. Yes, both were on the continent, Austin, and the Academy Warriors, of course, well, it's aside from Benin Republic, did it to them and they're out. But for Rangers, just confirmation of what I talked about. So match day 1, just only one fixture for that day. That's Rangers International, the champions, Academy Warriors, the President's Cup champions. Austin, what are we expecting from these two sides? I mean, the season is starting. No, we should be celebrating something because, we talked about the fact that when a date is given, are we going to start on that day? But they're doing something really remarkable. A clap or what?
I don't know, but Cecilia, I don't just want us to start hearing stories when we get into the season proper. Because now we'll start hearing things like, oh, they did not meet financial obligations. Oh, we did not get this one. Oh, they did not sign this one, just because they want to keep that date sacrosanct. I like it that they said the league will start on this date and it's starting on that date. We also know that when the league starts, it becomes a party. The teams get into it. I'd like to see what El Academy Warriors will do against Rangers, because I think in the last 9 matches, they recorded 9 losses. So it's been a festival of L's for them. I just hope that they can turn it around, but it's going to be very difficult against the Rangers side that needs to keep winning to stay relevant, against the Rangers side that are defending champions, against the Rangers side that's got this sort of vibrant players and an intelligent coach in Coach Fidelis Ilechukwu. That's him being thrown in the air right there. A Rangers team that is pumped up because they are playing in the CAF Champions League. A Rangers team that has this trophy, and every day they look at it, it motivates them. They also have the Enugu State government who seems to be backing them. They've got sponsorship. They've got some level of good leadership going on. I know Amobi and the things he's doing, to keep the team together. They've got a strategic plan. So on paper, it looks good for Rangers. But football can be funny, particularly when it's the opening game of the season. Not to just rubbish El Academy. They did their bit, came from the NNL, gained promotion in style, went on to win the President's Federation Cup. They are a traditional side in the league. We know the problems. Coach Zubairu came out right after they qualified for the CAF Confederation Cup. He said the problems are enormous. There's financial problem. There is this problem. There's players' welfare issue. There's infrastructure. The man counted all of the problems, but I know my country, Nigeria. Let's just go and play football. They've gone now, and they've been beaten. They are back home now. They want to face the league. I cannot wait for the league to start, Cecilia.
Yeah, I mean, well, I said that is the fact that we are starting. That is what we are celebrating. I'll come to you here, Okpeyemi. I mean, Rangers, Academy Warriors, as Austin mentioned, it hasn't been a good one. But Rangers, they find it hard to actually score goals. We saw what happened. They played 2 games in the year. How many goals did they score? 2.
They lost 2 goals.
2 goals. And then they are on the continent. Of course, Academy Warriors, they are already out of the continent. But Rangers, they'll have a point to prove, to tell us that, yes, they are worthy champions of the league.
It's a curtain raiser. It's more like the Community Shield. So it will also double as a fixture for them. So, but I had a conversation with the media manager of Rangers in the course of the week, and I was super excited about how prepared they are. See, there's no way you want to also speak to Fidelis Ilechukwu and not catch that buzz. He's the very happy,
yes.
I think he's been able to transmit his expression of football into the players. I mean, big shout out to what they are doing there, the management of the side, of the GM that is also doubled as I heard that he's also been registered this new season as a player. See, in all of this, I think the pendulum looks strong on the part of Rangers. But El Academy obviously are a spoiler in this. First off, they have nothing to lose.
Yes.
I mean, second, they are also looking at the fact that we're enjoying the buzz that came with winning the President Federation Cup. Yeah. Why don't you go for this one? Let's see how the season will start. I appreciated your point at saying that we don't have tentative dates this time around. We were hoping that 31st of August was going to be it, and it was. But more than that, do we even know the exact title sponsor for this league? Do we even know the prize money? Apart from what Honorable Labbadia said at the end of last season, are we still sure it's still 200 million, as prize for winning the league? What is the state of the clubs themselves? A couple of these clubs are still recruiting. A couple of them they're still participating in some preseason. Some, I know that Wiki Tourist, played a game today at the final of the Allen Cup in Jos. So, what is the preparation level of the club side themselves? Have they done their sensitization to the crowd to avoid crowd trouble, for them to be banished? What is the level of the state of their pitches? How many of them are going to be playing away from home? Are they making preparation? Look at the unfortunate thing that happened to Heartland just a few days ago. We need to avoid all of these things. So starting the league goes beyond 90 minutes or what you play on the pitches. What happened to the other logistics? Have they been put in place?
Yeah, I'm sure they've done that. That's why it's starting, because this date was announced a long time ago. I believe most of them, they've already done that. Quickly, let's move on to the Falconets. The Under-20 FIFA Women's World Cup is starting this weekend. Of course, the Falconets will be in action on Monday. If we can just get confirmation of the game they will be playing. Their opening match is against South Korea. They're in Group D, and of course, that's where you also have Germany. They are in that group. It will be a tough one for the Falconets. Just a quick one on the Falconets. What are we expecting from these girls? The last time in Costa Rica, they got to the quarterfinals, losing to the Netherlands. Well, right now, they are there again. They had about almost 14 days or less, 11 days campaign, in Colombia before the tournament. Start playing 2 games, winning 1 and losing at the second one to Mexico.
I like the composition of the team. I mean, they've got quite a lot of their players coming from Nasarawa, Amazon. I don't know how they did it. A few of them. And there's a blend of foreign players. I think about 4 or 5 of their players are also playing outside of this country. Cecilia, as much as I know that it's a developmental competition, but of course, it's really key for us to make a statement with this one. We saw what the Super Falcons did at the last World Cup in Australia and New Zealand, but we could not replicate that same form at the Olympics, where we didn't win a single game. We considered 5 goals, scored only 1 goal. But I mean, it's Nigeria. You can't take that away from us. A lot of us expect that, okay, our girls are coming strong. They would certainly get it up there. But look at the quality of the opposition in our group. They are playing against Korea Republic. These ones can play 300 minutes. They don't get the Asian teams generally. They hardly ever get tired. China, Japan, Korea. They are within the same space. But my worry is, like Austin would always say, the important games for you, your first game and your last game. You want to start the tournament with a win, 3 points, at least a draw, so that whatever happened in your second game, you could just hope that you could get it done in your last game. So for me, I think the Super Falcons understand what is at stake. They have a manager that is not new to the setup. Just get out there, enjoy yourself. Like I said, it's a developmental competition. There's no win at all cost mentality, but winning it is an icing on the cake for you. So just go out there to the Falconets, get the job done, get a good result to start this competition with. It is a World Cup. It is not the Olympics. It is a World Cup. So the entire world is going to be watching to see how our girls are developing, so that we don't just put all of the attention on the Falcons. Let us see what the Falconets, the Flamingos are also up to, Cecilia. But I'm really positive that they can do a lot of job on this one.
Yeah, all right. They can do a lot of positive job here. Austin, your message to the Falconets before we'll talk briefly about that Super Eagles coaching job. And of course, Victor Osimhen is still in the mix.
Yeah, I like the Falconets. I like football at the age grade level. I don't put pressure on them, and I always say it, that it's for development. I like that we have kept Coach Christopher Danjuma. I like that we've seen some players come up the ranks from the Flamingos that are now in the Falconets. I love that the players are enjoying themselves. I love that the NFF put together some quality test matches before the World Cup started, particularly the game against Mexico. So let them just go out there and express themselves, no pressure, and see what can come out of this. I think we've reached the final a couple of times and it didn't happen. So let them just go there now and just say to themselves, let's have fun. We are young girls. We're using this to empower the women's game. We're using this to pass a strong message to the current members of the Super Falcons that we are coming. I think if they go with that mindset, we might just come back here and be saying a different story at the end of the World Cup.
As we're expecting, they face South Korea and then Germany before they face Venezuela. Hopefully, they can get something positive from there in Colombia. All right. Victor Osimhen, the man of the moment. And the reason why he's the man of the moment, where will he play his football next? That's the big question, right? That's the question everyone is asking, because pillars from Sky Sports, I mean, if you read most of the international media, you're looking at the fact that, yes, the story that they painted concerning he may not be able to join Al Ahly, because the feelers reaching us from Brentford is that they've already agreed a deal with the club for Ivan Toney to move. If they're able to sign Ivan Toney, simply means there's no space for Victor Osimhen, because they can't afford to have two players who are above 21 years old. They don't have the space for that. They only have space for one player who is above 21. So that means Osimhen might just be going to Chelsea. What's the waiting? Deadline is 11 p.m. Okay, yeah, deadline is 11 p.m. We're looking at the time.
It's not about an hour and 28 minutes.
28 minutes. Where will Osimhen play his football? Will he remain in Napoli? But that's very dicey, because, I mean, feelers is that Conte said he's not part of his squad. They've gotten Lukaku. McTominay has also joined them. So they're beefing up the squad. So there will be no space for Victor Osimhen. So he needs to make a decision tonight.
Cecilia, it's quite unfortunate that the African Footballer of the Year, the poster boy of the Super Eagles, give and take. I mean, I was telling someone this afternoon that Victor Osimhen is a legend already with Napoli. You can't take that away from him. I mean, delivering their first Scudetto in over 30 years. But the question is this. What has been the progress since after they won the Scudetto? I think in my few years of covering sports, Napoli defending their Serie A title last season was one of the worst title defense I've seen in a long time. Maybe you want to put it side by side the way Bayern also failed to defend theirs, or maybe Barcelona. But the way Napoli couldn't come up last season, I feel like Victor Osimhen should know that it's time to move. I mean, sometimes they tell you, Cecilia, that it's time to move when ovation is loudest. Should have left immediately after they won the league. I figured out, but all of that didn't happen. Antonio Conte came in, and it was clear that Osimhen was not in his plans. He started making moves to bring in Lukaku. He started bringing moves to bring in Scott McTominay. So it's obvious that, hey, he's not even training with the senior team right now. They played how many games this season? About 2 games. They don't even games. The preseason games they had, they didn't even list Victor Osimhen. So it's obvious that he's not in that plan. So what has an agent been doing all the while? See, look at all of the top clubs in the world. Do they have space for strikers? Manchester United, are they looking for strikers? Manchester City, Arsenal, Tottenham. Look at this composition. So as at that time, Osimhen should have known that his options are getting limited as the transfer window progresses. So Chelsea came into the mix. Is he going to go to Chelsea? Will he stay at the end of the day? But I mean, we just woke up this morning at 8 a.m. and we started seeing the news everywhere that he's set up for a medical. And before we knew what was happening, the story changed again. Ivan Toney has agreed. Ivan Toney was left out of the squad for the weekend. He's gone for his medicals. He's been unveiled. And then you ask again, where would Victor Osimhen say? You know the unfortunate thing that could happen, which I pray it does not. Osimhen could remain at Napoli. And what that means is that his market value will continue to drop.
Yes,
because Antonio Conte has said, I'm not going to use you. I'm not going to give you time in this side. Maybe the management of Napoli could get him and the manager to have an agreement. Okay, maybe cup games. But I feel really bad. First off, we've got qualifiers to play now. And Osimhen has been invited to the national team, but he has not had game time. But he's been invited. Now, if he doesn't move now, he would have to wait till January, when the next transfer window opens, mid-season. And how many top clubs bring in top players in January?
And it's so expensive.
And it's going to be really expensive. Should he have moved over to Saudi Arabia? I don't know. The financial part of it, I don't know. But I mean, I think it's a really messed up situation.
Austin, Okwemi has put the blame on his agent, Roberto. Is Roberto wrong? Because Roberto said earlier that he still has so much to do in Europe. That was what he said. And then, of course, the Chelsea deal came on. We thought, okay, can Osimhen just take a pay cut and go to Chelsea and just play football?
Yeah, I think Osimhen would have wanted that also. But you see, I've been in this information business to know that the more you look, the less you see. And what they put out there is like 10% of what they want us to know. First thing first, people overrate agents. They can't just jump up and tell players where to go. The players, aside listening to himself, listens to family members, friends. If there's girlfriend there, listen to girlfriend, wives, children.
Okay. Because
you need to carry them along before you even start thinking about agents. Because they see the relationship with agents as business. So all of these talks that people have been having about the agents is that I just laugh. I'm like, what are people talking about? If Osimhen wants to go to Chelsea 100%, there's nothing the agent can do. But if Osimhen was being tempted by the money that the Saudi Arabia are putting in his face, that's probably what is doing the back and forth. But now what I'm seeing, sources are saying that he has called Maresca to say he wants to stay at Napoli. I think that's the option that he shouldn't even take. Just go to either Saudi Arabia or Chelsea.
Okay.
He should have left Chelsea right after they won the Scudetto. I agree with Opeyemi. But the fact that he stayed, don't forget, at the time coming, his relationship with Napoli was already under the sea with those racing posts that they put out of Osimhen. So it is what it is. We'll continue to monitor the situation. Unfortunately, we got to go now. That's the show in London. I'm Austin Okonakpan. In everything you do, remember, keep talking sport.
The report reaching us is that Austin Eguavoen is going to take charge of the Super Eagles' upcoming games, AFCON qualifiers, because the deal between the Nigerian Football Federation, the agreement, and Bruno Labbadia collapsed over disagreement on German tax issues. So this drama continues. So I don't know what's going to happen, but this is the report reaching us, is the fact that Austin Eguavoen is going to be in charge of those two games. As the head of technical department, he will just step into the shoes of a coach, and after that, we'll see if that coach is going to come in. Well, Femi, thank you so much for doing this with us today.
I feel so bad. I feel so bad that the Nigerian national team is in this space, but let's see how it goes, Cecilia.
All right. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Cecilia Omongbe. Have a good night rest.